Part 102. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1011. Wang Feng and others were shocked when they heard Gao's Hixing's words. Old Gao. You said, all the humans from the original star have arrived at the home planet. Wang Feng looked at Gao's Hixing, widened his eyes and asked. How many are there? How did they get here? All the people from the original star came over and appeared directly on the mother planet. At that time, they almost caused a riot. Fortunately, at the same time as they appeared, a voice came from our minds. I didn't regard them as enemies. Gao's Hixing said with lingering fear. When did this happen? Wang Feng asked. Kindness. Gao's Hixing thought for a while and then said. According to the time you mentioned before, it should be after you enter the portal and arrive in another universe, which is about the time when Lin Li dug out the skeleton buried under the portal. Wang Feng looked at Duan Lei, and then asked. What did the voice you heard say? Gao's Hixing, Lu Qiang, and Shen Yishan looked at each other, and finally Shen Yishan said. The progress of the land of God's punishment has been updated. The endless road has entered the preparation period. All races have begun to prepare to enter the endless road. After the chosen tribe escapes from the land of God's punishment, the preparation period ends and the endless road opens. Also, those human beings also heard similar words when they were in the primitive star. This is what the human beings who left the primitive star told me. Gao's Hixing also spoke at this time, and then said the voice that appeared in the minds of the people of the original star that he heard from the people of the original star before. Then Shen Yishan spoke again. Then, more than a year ago, probably around the time you left the land of God's punishment, we heard something else. When listening to Shen Yishan finish the last words they heard, Wang Feng patted his head and remembered the words he heard after leaving the land of God's punishment and the last words Shen Yishan heard. The words were exactly the same, and they were somewhat clear in their hearts. It seemed that when they entered the land of God's punishment before, this endless road should have been activated. Those who experienced the test were naturally all the creatures who were still in the land of God's punishment at that time. Those forgotten people also have their own race, so they may have a way to leave the land of God's punishment. Therefore, this is considered the first stage, that is, at this time, the human race on the original star will I heard the first paragraph. It is very likely that all the creatures on the original star heard this paragraph. As for the second paragraph, it was because they destroyed all the forgotten people in the land of God's punishment and released their souls. Therefore, the only ones who could leave the land of God's punishment were those from the land of God's punishment. The creatures of the human race have therefore become the chosen race. Because at that time, if there were any creatures that could come out of the land of God's punishment, it would have to be the human race, or even they could not come out and eventually transformed into undead. Then this time the endless road might be closed. As for the last words that sounded when Wang Feng was the first to escape from the land of God's punishment, it was naturally because they successfully left the original star. Therefore, the endless road entered the final stage, and all the defending races they were all teleported to the endless tower. As for them, maybe because they are the chosen race, they are the only race chosen to go on the endless road, and because they have just come out of the ghost place of God's punishment, they are left with 20 years. In fact, Wang Feng's guesses were pretty much the same, but he was wrong about the last one. The last 20 years were not just to leave preparation time for the human race, but also not to take care of the human race. If Wang Feng knew that the other races that were transported to the Endless Tower were also using these 20 years to build and develop their own territories, he would probably rather not have to spend these 20 years of preparation time. It wasn't until Wang Feng and the others started walking the Endless Road and entered the Endless Tower that they realized that these 20 years had been used to deceive the human race, and it was quite a deception. Even 1,000 fathers were not enough to deceive them. That kind. But of course Wang Feng doesn't know this now. Anyway, he smoothed out those few words and shook his head and ignored it. Anyway, Wang Feng estimated that they would definitely hear this voice in the future. How is the mother planet doing now? Duan Lei looked at Gao's Hixing and Shen Yishan and asked. He had a feeling that the home planet was not so peaceful now. Alas. It's just okay. Hearing Duan Lei's words, Gao's Hixing sighed, and then said. I am now also a subject of your Hope Empire. Haha. I have immigrated for many years. Wang Feng was stunned for a moment when he heard Gao's Hixing's words, but then he immediately understood that the human race on the primordial star had dug up the skeleton buried under the portal not long after he entered the sub-universe. After that, he was transferred to the home planet. In other words, the human race of the original star has been on the home planet for more than 10 years. With the character of Dong Huang Tai, it is certainly impossible for him to succumb to Gao's Hixing's management. And they will never be like themselves, just occupying a small continent so that their people can settle down. For an ambitious person like Dong Huang Tai, he will not control the entire planet in his own hands. He will not be reconciled. In particular, none of the humans on the original star have lost their racial talents, and their strength is not comparable to that of ordinary people on the home planet. Even Lu Qiang and the others from Atlantis are not able to compete with others. Can't compete with them. Fortunately, Fuxi is still among the humans from the original star. He knows Lu Qiang and others, so it is unlikely that the Hope Empire will suffer. This may be the main reason why Gao's Hixing also joined the Hope Empire, find a shelter. Tell me about the situation on the home planet now. Wang Feng and Duan Lei glanced at each other, and then Wang Feng spoke. When the humans from the original star arrived, we quickly understood their identities. After the two sides communicated for a period of time, the Eastern Emperor Tai, as the great prophet of the human race, issued many prophecies. Gao's Hixing sighed, and then began to talk about the situation on his home planet. Because he is the great prophet of the human race, and there are indeed legends about him and Haoshan and others on the home planet. Especially since their strength is stronger than you, naturally we dare not doubt his words. Having said this, Gao's Hixing shook his head, then pointed at Wang Feng and the others and said. He said that because of you, humanity is about to face an unprecedented crisis, and this crisis must be overcome by all human beings working together. He also said that fortunately he had predicted it before and made some preparations for you, so you should be able to return safely. When the time comes, he will lead us to get through the biggest abnormal crisis in the history of mankind. At first, because of their reputation and strength, we believed in them, but later some of us felt that something was wrong, because some of the humans who came from the original star seemed not so friendly. When you arrived at your home planet, we were really nervous for a while, because you guys are all quite perverted, but later we discovered that the people in your iron-blooded empire seemed to abide by the rules and would never violate the rules. Use your own strength to bully others, although in the first period of time, almost wherever your people go, there will be trouble, causing the entire home planet to become a state of chaos. But these troubles can be found out in the end. The people who are responsible are basically the people of your empire. Your people don't cause trouble, but don't mess with me. If you mess with them together, they will cause trouble. The bigger the better, and we won't give up until we get an explanation. Hearing this, Wang Feng laughed dumbly and shook his head slightly. This habit seemed to have been brought up by him, because the first ones who started to cause trouble on the home planet were him, Lu Wanting, Su Mo and Zhang Xiu. Seeing Wang Feng's expression, Gao's Hixing couldn't help but laugh. During that time, he really became Wang Feng's butt wiper. Before things were done here, Wang Feng started to get into trouble again. Son. So. Even though you people were very troublesome at that time, I was also very happy, because after that period of time, the atmosphere on the home planet suddenly became quite good, and the crime rate plummeted. This is all because of you. Credit. And when your people commit crimes outside, we won't have to worry about it. Your law enforcement team will appear quickly and solve the problem, so that everyone can see the results, without any hidden things. This little brother personally castrated a citizen of your empire on the street in front of everyone because the guy got too drunk and raped a little girl. Gau's Hixing pointed at Taizu, who touched his head and smiled. Wang Feng was stunned. He didn't expect that Taizu had such a tiger side. Are there eunuchs on the street? Holy shit. Wang Feng instantly felt that his crotch was a little cold. Later, that little girl and her parents were also adopted as citizens by your Empire of Hope. Since then, many little girls have wished that they could meet men who drank too much in your empire. Gau's Hixing said that he couldn't help but laugh afterward. Hey! Stop it, stop it! Wang Feng thinks why this guy is becoming more and more unreliable as he talks. He quickly stretched out his hand and said, "Hurry up and tell Dong Huang and the others why they keep talking about our people. I understand those guys fairly well. Although they all have their faults, at least the bottom line is there. You don't need to say it." Gau's Hixing was stunned for a moment, then looked at Lu Wanting, and then he realized. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1012. Gau's Hixing thought that it might be inappropriate for him to say such a thing in front of Lu Wanting, but he didn't know that when Wang Feng saw Lu Wanting and heard Gau's Hixing say that Taizu had castrated the guy directly on the street, he had Wang Feng looked at his important parts with great interest, so Wang Feng felt a little nervous, especially Lu Wanting who felt it was new and wanted to give it a try, right? Although Wang Feng now has the ability to regenerate limbs, what should I do if Wei Yi leaves a shadow in his heart, or Lu Wanting is addicted? Therefore, Wang Feng made a decisive decision. If Gau's Hixing should stop this topic immediately, he should talk about Dong Huang Tai and the others. Ahem. Gau's Hixing coughed twice in embarrassment, and then continued. You and those from the original star are both very powerful new humans, but their behavior on the home planet is completely different. In the end, your people were even called law enforcement teams by the people on the home star. Once you see the people from the home star, I hope that the citizens of the Empire will come up quickly and speak directly if they have any grievances, but your citizens turned out to be nosy. So on the home planet, the reputation of the Empire of Hope is quite good, and even everyone has become a citizen of the Empire of Hope as their life goal. But, the human race of those primitive stars are not so good. What Dong Huang Tai said before was quite good. He wanted to lead our human race through the crisis and rebuild the former glory of the human race. And because of his he is a great prophet, so we believe him. Who would have thought that after a period of time, probably more than a month, something went wrong? Those humans who came from the original star implicitly regarded themselves as nobles among the human race. For the Aborigines on the mother planet, those ordinary humans started to oppress them. At the beginning, they were a little more restrained. For example, if they took a fancy to that little girl, they would at least show off their strong strength first, and deceive the little girls into willingly becoming their playthings, but they often play with them for a few days and then end up with them. When you get tired of it, just throw it away or leave it to your friends to play with. And because of their strong strength, our law enforcers were unable to sanction them at all, so in the later stages, they began to openly rob. Whether it was women, property, or even real estate such as houses, they would directly occupy it when they were happy. Many citizens whose houses were directly occupied by them and who abused their wives and daughters came to cry and complain. However, these people were immediately retaliated by them, and their bodies were found on the streets in an instant. The entire home planet was in a state of chaos. Where is the third master? Wang Feng was furious, then suddenly thought of Fu 11 and asked quickly. Gau's Hixing had also met Fuxi and knew that the third master Wang Feng was talking about was him, so he sighed and said. After third master arrived at his home planet, he arrived in the Hope Empire within a few days. There were a group of people with him. Because of their presence, the Hope Empire became the only place on the home planet that still had order. Nation. Because those who entered the Empire of Hope to cause trouble were sent by Haoshan to have two generals, one named Qiyu and the other named Xin Tian, execute them on the spot. After killing several people, those people did not dare to do that in the Empire of Hope. It's blatant. However, they will still stay in the Empire of Hope, because there are some small things that Qiyu and the others cannot take care of. The current home planet is basically divided into two camps. One is the human race on the original star, and the other is your Empire of Hope. The third master has brought 2 million humans from the original star to join you. The original people are guarding the territory of the Hope Empire. The rest belong to the original Star Renaissance Alliance. Renewal Alliance. Wang Feng frowned. That's right. Dong Huangtai established a Renaissance Alliance, and the top management are all humans from the original star. The third master was also invited, but he refused. Dong Huangtai did not force it too much, but often sent a lot of people. It has been a long time since people entered the Empire of Hope, secretly causing trouble and disrupting order. Gao's Hixing nodded and said. Especially, many of the people they sent out were those from the home planet. Those people were not good birds in the first place. Now they are able to hug Dong Huangtai's lap. Of course they have to work hard. It is precisely because of the joining of these people that I hope that there are still troubles in the Empire now, because many of the people who are causing trouble in the dark are ordinary people, and you are all strong people. Once they cause trouble, punish them. They will bite back and say that you are bullying others. Because they are ordinary people and weak, they will naturally make other people think that they cannot have the courage to actively stir up trouble. Coupled with the tyranny of those on the original star, ordinary people on the mother planet have long been. I feel resentment towards these new humans, so I can't tell right from wrong. Basically, as long as there is news about the conflict between new humans and ordinary people, the internet will definitely be one-sided in favor of ordinary people, and no one will go back to find out the truth. You have been like this for more than 10 years. Wang Feng looked at Lu Qiang and Shen Yishan. Seeing the two people nodding awkwardly, Wang Feng sighed, then patted Lu Qiang on the shoulder and said, "Oh, big man. You are still too kind. I should have kept Lao Lu in the first place." Uncertain. Hearing Wang Feng's words, Duan Lei chuckled and shook his head. Third Master is planning this for you. No matter who you leave behind, they will be in such a mess when you come back. Ah! Wang Feng was stunned. What he said before meant that Lu Qiang was not ruthless enough, so he would have a lot of scruples when encountering things that would be guided by public opinion, but Lu Feng would not. He doesn't care what you say about him, he will kill if he thinks it's time to kill. What happened to ordinary people? Does it mean that when there is a conflict between the strong and the weak must take the lead? In Lu Feng's eyes, no matter whether the two parties involved are strong or weak, it only depends on which side is on the side of truth. What he hates most is the kind of unreasonableness. When he finds that he is wrong, he will mess around and cry out to pretend to be pitiful. People who come to gain public sympathy. When meeting such people, Lu Feng always has one word: kill. You are already so unreasonable, why should I care about my own identity and argue with you? Am I sick? But now, according to Duan Lei, this situation is actually maintained intentionally by the third master? Wang Feng thought about it carefully and seemed to think something was wrong. Wang Feng has been in contact with Fu 11 for a long time. Although Wang Feng has never seen Fu 11 take action and doesn't know much about his strength, the third master is not a good-tempered person. Wang Feng is absolutely sure of this. According to the third master's temper, especially since he also brought more than 2 million primitive star humans, it is certain that most of these humans should come from the army and belong to Haoshan, Qiyu and Xin Tian and his subordinates. After all, the third master has been away from the original star for so long, and his appeal is definitely not as good as these three guys. Since there are so many people, there should be no problem in governing the territory of the Hope Empire. Moreover, Dong Huangtai would definitely not dare to directly send troops to fight Fuxi. No matter how famous the three emperors of the human race were, even if he was a great prophet, he could not accuse Fuxi of anything worthy of using his army to crusade. Even the Eastern Emperor Tai would never dare to slander the reputation of the three emperors of the human race. Otherwise, it will cause the collapse of human faith, and even his identity as a great prophet will be affected and become in danger. And once the human race loses its faith, it will be the real end of the human race. A nation without faith must be a nation in chaos, a nation without order. Because without faith, there is no awe, no goal, no bottom line, and no sense of gratitude. Such a creature is absolutely terrifying. Dong Huangtai will never dare to take this risk. Duan Lei saw that Wang Feng didn't seem to understand, so he smiled softly and said, "The third master is setting up a big scheme. I don't know how big it is. However, the third master must know some things that we don't know." Taking the current situation on the home planet as an example, the third master is absolutely I want to use these people on the home planet, including the citizens of our Hope Empire, as victims to create an image of a savior. And this savior is naturally you. Duan Lei turned his head and looked at the home planet that could already be seen, exhaled, and said, "Now, we are absolutely certain that most of the people on the home planet have great resentment towards Dong Huangtai, or the new human race. At least the current order on the home star is not what they want. Order the chaos." Duan Lei withdrew his gaze, looked at Wang Feng, and said a prophecy left to them after the fall of Dong Huangtai. "Third master is waiting for you to come back and take us to rectify the chaos on our home planet. This will bring you a high reputation, especially when we are about to embark on the endless road as a whole family. This reputation is very important to you. It can even push you to the highest peak and become the commander-in-chief of the entire human race when entering the endless road, so that we can go on the endless road without any constraints and can go exactly as we want. The way. Although the price may be high, it fits the third master's temperament very well, doesn't it?" Duan Lei looked at Wang Feng and said with a smile, "The third master will definitely protect the human race with all his strength, but what he protects is the future of the entire human race. The third master will never be reluctant to make necessary sacrifices. From this point of view, third master, he is the worthy commander-in-chief. Ci does not command troops." Patting Wang Feng's shoulder, Duan Lei said meaningfully, "It's just, for this trip to the home planet, I'm afraid you have to borrow his title from Lu Feng first, and then, go on a killing spree here. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1013. After hearing Duan Lei's words, Wang Feng thought about it and couldn't help shaking his head and smiling bitterly. It must be said that Duan Lei's analysis was quite correct and basically completely in line with Fuxi's character. Before, Fuxi only cared about Wang Feng's life and death, and basically ignored other people, because in his eyes, only Wang Feng was the one who could lead the human race to the peak. Even if he used tens of thousands of people in exchange for Wang Feng's survival, Fuxi would never hesitate. He only wanted the final outcome of the human race. As for how many people would die in the process, in this world, you need to pay an equal price for anything you want. Turning his head to look at the mother planet in front of him, Wang Feng sighed softly. No matter what, he needed to break the situation set by Fuxi. Because no matter what, Wang Feng couldn't watch those people secretly making small moves in his Hope Empire, even if this was just a place they found for the survivors who followed them all the way, not their Atlantis. When they were recounting their experiences, when they knew that Atlantis was intact, Lu Qiang, Shen Yishan and others were all ecstatic. Even those who had lived on the mother planet for so long still missed Atlantis. Therefore, Wang Feng has understood that no matter how good other planets are, they are not as good as the place where he was born, because they can't fully integrate into the land under their feet. If their endless road can successfully reach the top and regain the former glory of the human race, Wang Feng feels that these humans from Atlantis will eventually return to the planet they are most familiar with. After the space battleship entered the mother planet, Lu Wanting directly drove the Yanhuang to the continent where the Hope Empire was located, and ignored the signals for communication sent by several small fighters that came to greet them. Without a doubt, this was naturally a fighter plane sent by Dong Huangtai, probably to let them go over and meet him, but Wang Feng and the others didn't take Dong Huangtai as a dish in their hearts. Compared with the Dong Huangtai in the land of divine punishment, this Dong Huangtai was really too inferior. After the Yanhuang entered the airspace of the Hope Empire, the small fighter planes continued to circle around the Yanhuang, and the fuselage of the fighter planes was still flashing the signal requesting communication. Because of the sound they made through the fighter plane's loudspeaker, the Yanhuang did not respond at all. Seeing the arrival of the Yanhuang and those small fighter planes, no fighter planes took off below, and the anti-aircraft weapons were not activated, but from the crowd gathered in a large square below, it seemed that the welcome ceremony for Wang Feng and the others was ready. And the fact that no fighter planes came to greet them was obviously a decision made by Fuxi. After Fuxi came to the Hope Empire, Lu Qiang, Shen Yisan, and others who knew his identity naturally handed over the power of the Hope Empire to Fuxi directly. For his own plan, Fuxi took the responsibility and made Haoshan the emperor of the Hope Empire, while he directed the situation behind the scenes. After all, he was one of the 3 emperors of the human race, and the emperor of the entire human race. It was a bit awkward to suddenly come to a small country of the human race to be the emperor. And Haoshan originally had the title of Emperor Haoshan, and now he was worthy of the title. This situation was definitely a play arranged by Fuxi for Wang Feng. After all, he had been away from here for more than 10 years, and many young people had only heard of Wang Feng's name. Even if some people had seen him when they were young, their impression of him was already blurred. Therefore, when returning, using a stronger announcement to let everyone know about their return is undoubtedly a good way, and the small fighters that entered their territory are a good stepping stone. The Yanhuang suddenly turned on the shield in the airspace of the Hope Empire, and the ship's guns began to charge. At the same time, the loudspeaker on the warship issued Wang Feng's voice. "This is the airspace of the Hope Empire. Please leave immediately, unidentified fighters, this is not the place for you." The pilots of the small fighters were stunned, and then they all smiled contemptuously. The Hope Empire had made similar moves before, either condemning or expressing serious protests, but never taking any practical actions. Therefore, they did not take Wang Feng's warning seriously this time. Although they have seen this space battleship, because those who are capable of driving small fighters are naturally new humans from the original star, only they have not lost the function of their hair, so Wang Feng and his team's battle with the cosmic ghost on the original star, they naturally know more or less. But this does not make them feel afraid. Originally, these human races who stayed on the original star still thought that the human races in the outside world must have a much better life than them, and their strength is also stronger. After all, they are not short of resources. However, after coming out and arriving at the mother star, they found that these human races in the outside world did live better than them, but this strength. Therefore, these human races from the original star have an inexplicable sense of superiority. In addition, in the past 10 years, they have been kings and hegemons on the mother star. Even in the Hope Empire, a country with Fuxi sitting in charge, they are just restrained a little and dare not put it on the surface. But as long as they did not do something too excessive, Fuxi and his people would turn a blind eye and did not interfere too much. These people naturally did not know that this was a foreshadowing made by Fuxi in order to allow Wang Feng to successfully establish his reputation when he returned, so he ignored them and became more and more rampant. And these guys who had directly destroyed the cosmic ghost on the original star and were teleported away were said to be from the same planet as these people from the Hope Empire, and it was a planet that was even more backward than the mother planet. In the eyes of these people from the original star, they were simply natives from remote rural areas. Should they be afraid of them? Therefore, although those fighters saw the Yanhuang raising its shield and charging the beam cannon of the warship and entering combat mode, they still did not leave and still wandered around the warship. At the same time, the signal lights on the fighters continued to flash. Because they received the order to take them to the headquarters of the Renaissance Alliance immediately after the spaceship entered the planet. After all, it was a flagship-level spaceship. Now is not the heyday of the human race. All the spaceships added up are less than 10. So the Yanhuang spaceship was what Dong Huangtai was going to receive into their camp. As for the Hope, the human race of the original star did not look down on this kind of spaceship that needed to be driven by hand, and they were not used to driving it. In addition, when Fuxi left, he took Gao's Hixing and the Hope with him, so Dong Huangtai simply gave Fuxi a face. Although the mother planet is now divided into two camps, it is still one on the surface. Dong Huangtai also does not want the human race to split. He only wants to control more human race when Wang Feng and his team return. When he reaches the Endless Road, he can complete his layout for many years. When the Yanhuang space battleship was discovered by them, Dong Huangtai certainly knew that Wang Feng and his team had returned. However, Dong Huangtai is now on the mother planet. He can be said to be the most powerful person, just like the leader of the human race, so of course he can't go to greet them in person. Let a few fighters bring Wang Feng and his team back, and then let them enter the conference hall to discuss matters. On the one hand, they will ask about their experiences after leaving the original star, and on the other hand, they will take the Yanhuang. It just kills two birds with one stone. But what they didn't expect was that after Wang Feng entered the mother planet, he didn't pay any attention to the small fighters they sent out. No matter whether they shouted through the loudspeaker or used light signals, they couldn't get in touch with the Yanhuang. Dong Huangtai was somewhat prepared for this. He thought that this should be Fuxi's idea, because Fuxi also did not really break up with them, so using this deaf and dumb method to get the Yanhuang back to his territory first was a good idea. However, Dong Huangtai would certainly not give up. You can pretend to be deaf and dumb now, but you can't stay in the Yanhuang forever, right? Once your people come out, our people will directly face you and tell you that the great prophet has invited you and needs to know your experience in the land of divine punishment before formulating the strategy for the endless road in the future. In this way, you will have no excuse to refuse, right? As for the Yanhuang, it will also be driven to their side first for routine inspection and maintenance. As for whether to return it to them after the inspection and maintenance. Anyway, everyone can't break up. Dong Huangtai has plenty of ways to keep the Yanhuang. But who knew that Wang Feng, this guy, actually played cards that were not in line with common sense? After entering the airspace of his Hope Empire, he actually directly warned the small fighter plane he sent. However, Dong Huangtai did not care. Although there were many countries on the mother planet, there were indeed national borders. Once the armed forces of another country entered the territory of another country, it could indeed be regarded as an armed invasion and could be directly counterattacked. So theoretically speaking, if Wang Feng opened fire directly at this time, it would not be considered excessive. At least, they hoped that the empire would stand on the side of reason. However, Dong Huangtai did not believe that Wang Feng would really dare to open fire. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1014. Because. Now the mother planet has been basically unified by Dong Huangtai. If Wang Feng really dares to open fire, Dong Huangtai can completely accuse him of provoking a civil war among the human race. Although he dare not say this to Fuxi, Dong Huangtai does not think much of this little guy Wang Feng, who is only a little guy in his 30s. Therefore, Dong Huangtai did not issue an order for the small fighters to evacuate, but waited and watched. Those small fighters were naturally fearless. Looking at the small fighters still circling around the warship, Wang Feng sneered, and then used his hair to point out a few light spots. Boom boom boom. With a few loud noises, the small fighters in the air were all broken into pieces by the energy beams shot from the Yanhuang. The wreckage of the fighters flew around, and human limbs could be vaguely seen in the middle. The survivors of the Hope Empire who were watching on the ground, after a moment of stunned, suddenly cheered like thunder. Most of these citizens of the Hope Empire followed Wang Feng all the way here from Atlantis. Of course, they also knew about Wang Feng's temper. These people were actually not used to it before, because since the establishment of the Hope Base, the dark side of human society would hardly appear among them again. Although it was the end of the world at that time, and the resources of the Hope Base were not so abundant, at least these survivors were free. If you could starve, you could not work. No one would force you to do anything. Except for joining the army, you would be bound by military regulations. As long as the other survivors did not violate the rules of the Hope Base, they would at least live freely and would not be bullied by anyone. Especially after arriving at the mother planet and establishing the Hope Empire, although they did not have so much sense of belonging in their hearts because they were in a foreign land, they were still very dependent on the Hope Empire, especially their Hope Empire, which had a high status on the mother planet. When they heard that they were citizens of the Hope Empire, they would always get the envy of countless people. Of course, this also made these survivors have a strong sense of honor in their hearts. Whether in other countries or in the Hope Empire, they would restrain themselves, because they knew that if they did something bad, it would not only be shameful for themselves, but also for the entire Hope Empire. At that time, they would be drowned by the saliva of their compatriots when they returned. This is also the reason why the Hope Empire has such a good reputation on the mother planet. Except for a few citizens who did some dirty things because of drunkenness or impulse, most people in the Hope Empire are very concerned about their image. This is the power of collective honor. However, this originally peaceful and comfortable life changed after the arrival of the human race from the primitive star. After Fuxi entered the Hope Empire, he began to gather his own citizens and prohibited the citizens of the Hope Empire from going out. At the beginning, although it was a mess outside, the Hope Empire was still calm, but not long after, a large group of foreigners began to appear in the Hope Empire. Those who first came to the Hope Empire for refuge because they could not bear the oppression and humiliation of the new humans from the primitive star. For them, the Hope Empire did not refuse, but specially divided areas for them so that they could live temporarily. But as the number of people increased, Dong Huangtai felt some crisis, although he did not care much about these ordinary people, because even if they entered the Endless Road, they would not play any role, and they were not even cannon fodder. But if this continued, it would affect his reputation in the human race. Now the human race was divided into two camps. Basically all the high-level people of the original star knew this, but they just didn't say it. So Dong Huangtai had to maintain his advantage, so that after entering the Endless Road, he could use the future of the human race to force Fuxi and others to obey his command. As for Wang Feng, in Dong Huangtai's plan, Wang Feng could not reach the Endless Road, so Dong Huangtai did not regard Wang Feng as his rival. Before entering the Endless Road, he would definitely have a long talk with Wang Feng alone. Before Wang Feng came back, Dong Huangtai could only use a non-violent way, such as sending people to make trouble, to drag the Hope Empire into the water. Although the progress was not fast, Dong Huangtai was not in a hurry. Anyway, there was still a long time to enter the Endless Road. The most important thing now was that he had to take back what he left on Wang Feng. However, Although Dong Huangtai's actions did not achieve great results, at least they succeeded in making the survivors of the Hope Empire feel quite depressed, and because of the orders from above, they had to swallow their anger. If Lu Qiang had not had a high prestige among these survivors, I am afraid that these survivors would have killed countless ordinary people who dared to make trouble. Even if those people from the primitive star came to make trouble, even if they couldn't beat them, they would probably go up. After all, they were in their own country, and they had a lot of people. Besides, how powerful was the Hope base in Atlantis? Anyone who dared to cause trouble, no matter who they were or how powerful they were, would be killed. Therefore, despite being disappointed, this group of survivors are looking forward to the return of Wang Feng and the others. They know that if big guys like Wang Feng and Lu Feng return, they will never tolerate those bastards who dare to cause trouble. Therefore, after hearing the news of Wang Feng's return, these survivors have been waiting here for several days, because they know that their day of pride is coming. Although the humans of those primitive stars are very powerful, Wang Feng has long been a myth in the hearts of these survivors. They believe that no matter what kind of enemy they are, as long as Wang Feng is around, they will be able to kill them. So do those original star guys. However, they did not expect that the surprise they were waiting for would come so quickly. Before Wang Feng even landed, he announced his return in such a strong way. His energy and blood suddenly surged, and all the suppressed emotions burst out in an instant. Just after their cheers broke out, Wang Feng's declaration came from the huge battleship in the sky. Everyone in the Hope Empire listens to me, I don't care who you are. As long as you are in the Hope Empire, you must abide by the laws of the Hope Empire. We can accept refugees, but we do not accept ulterior motives. People. From now on, the Empire of Hope activates emergency wartime procedures and enters a state of war. Anyone who dares to enter the territory of the Empire of Hope to cause trouble again, no matter what level they reach, they will be killed without mercy. In addition, those who have sneaked into my Hope Empire and violated the laws of our country are limited to leaving the Hope Empire before tomorrow morning. We will forget about it. Starting tomorrow, we will start an investigation. Once we find out, I hope you will not regret it. A friendly reminder, if you've done something wrong and still don't want to leave, you'd better leave a last message to your family tonight, because you won't have a chance in the future. All citizens of the Hope Empire, when you see people who do not belong to the Hope Empire causing trouble in your own territory, you can directly kill them without any scruples. We will bear all the consequences together. The Hope Empire will never compromise with anyone. In addition, I hope that the fighter planes that invaded the airspace of the Hope Empire today will give us a reasonable reason and a perfect solution from their country. Otherwise, after a clear investigation, I hope the Empire will definitely declare war on them. Those who insult my Hope Empire must pay the price. Otherwise, they will not stop until death. Till death. Till death. Wang Feng's declaration completely aroused the emotions of everyone below. Everyone jumped and cheered. Wang Feng was back, and their invincible and powerful leader was back. From today on, they finally no longer have to hold back. If those bastards dare to cause trouble again, they will dare to kill them directly. Whether they are ordinary people or those bastards from the original star, hack them all to death. Anyway, Wang Feng said, everyone will bear all the consequences together. What else do they have to fear? Let those bastards completely understand that from today on, their Empire of Hope will no longer be a place where they can act arbitrarily. In the end, the crowd below were all shouting in unison. Till death. Seeing this scene, a smile finally appeared on Fuxi's calm face. Although he didn't let anyone else give Wang Feng a message, he knew that this kid could just handle this matter according to his original temper. Now Wang Feng's performance made Fu 11 very satisfied, especially the last sentence of not to die, which made the survivors who had been suppressed for too long because of his deliberate actions, all gathered together by Wang Feng at this moment. Next, even if Wang Feng says that they hope that the Empire will be an enemy of all humans on the home planet, I am afraid they will follow Wang Feng without hesitation. The point where his sword points is the direction of their charge. Although Fuxi was very satisfied, Dong Huangtai's side was naturally not so comfortable. Dong Huangtai looked at the scene on the screen calmly without saying a word. All the satellites of the home planet have been activated now, so it is of course easy for Dong Huangtai to see the scene over there. Humph. So that's it, Fuxi. I finally understand your intention, but, you put your treasure on this kid. Dong Huangtai suddenly looked at Fuxi on the screen, with a smile on his face, as if he was very happy. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1015. After making his declaration of return, Wang Feng directly hovered the Yanhuang in the air, still hovering 100 meters above the ground, and then lowered the lifting platform. Seeing Yanhuang's actions, the crowd below who were still cheering were a little confused. Why was the lift platform lowered at such a high distance? But before they had time to react, a large number of soldiers appeared on the lift platform. It was the Hope Expeditionary Force inside the Yanhuang. These Hope Expeditionary Forces flew directly into the sky and formed a neat square formation above the square. There were nearly 100,000 troops, all wearing camouflage combat uniforms, uniform equipment, and a prosperous military appearance, especially since they were all floating in the air. The visual impact is definitely quite shocking. After all, the current Hope Expeditionary Force soldiers are all above level 10. Even among the humans from the original star, there are only a few strong men who have reached level 10. Compared with the Hope Expeditionary Force, it is not on the same level at all. Seeing this scene, especially those warriors standing proudly against the wind in the sky, who were all very familiar warriors to the survivors below, the thunderous cheers rang out again and continued. Obviously, this scene was specially arranged by Wang Feng. He did not want to really start a war with the human race. It is still not sure in what form the Endless Road started, so the human race is definitely not suitable for civil war, even after entering the Endless Road. The human race is still divided into two camps, and it is better than now when they are attrition due to internal fighting. That's why Wang Feng first destroyed the incoming small fighters in a high-profile manner, and then let the Hope Expeditionary Force directly reveal their strength. He believed in Dong Huangtai's vision. After seeing the current strength of the Hope Expeditionary Force, you will definitely not conflict with them easily. After seeing the aerial phalanx of the Hope Expeditionary Force, Dong Huangtai and the senior officials of the Primordial Star were really surprised. From their eyes, of course they could see that these Hope Expeditionary Forces were all it has reached the level of a 10th level creature. Although humans who have not lost their racial talents can basically fly when they reach the 7th level of strength, and even some who have reached the 5th or 6th level can barely fly a short distance, just like Wang Feng did back then. But, these Hope Expeditionary Force soldiers floating in the air, at first glance, are not comparable to the strong men of the 7th or 8th level. They are floating in the air now, their bodies are not moving at all, the wind in the air is completely, it won't have any impact on them. Even a 9th level expert will have a slight up and down swing when floating fixedly in the air. This is because the life energy in his body fluctuates due to the need to stabilize his body in the air and resist gravity. This situation, and this square array, like a space battleship, is parked steadily in the air, its body motionless. This is obviously the control of the energy in its body, reaching a micro-level control level, and this kind of control ability is exactly the step into only a level 10 expert can possess it. Dong Huangtai's face was a little livid at this time. He didn't understand that when these soldiers of the Hope Expeditionary Force first entered the original star, there were even many who couldn't fly. How could they all make rapid progress now and reach this level? Degree. Is there any opportunity in the land of divine punishment that can allow people to break through? For a normal human race, level 9 to level 10 is a huge hurdle. Very few people can reach level 10. And now there are nearly 100,000 level 10 experts. This power has far exceeded the imagination of Dong Huangtai. Even the full strength of the original star cannot resist it, not to mention Fuxi and Haoshan, and they have also taken away many human warriors with very strong combat effectiveness. In this way, his plan will inevitably be affected. If Wang Feng insists on not seeing him, how can he get his things back? Dong Huangtai stared at the screen, a sinister look flashed in his eyes, and then pressed a call button. The door opened gently, and a person walked in quietly like a civet cat and came to Dong Huangtai. Dong Huangtai whispered a few words to him. After listening, the man nodded slightly, and then left quietly again. At this time, Wang Feng had also flown out of the Yanhuang and arrived in front of the phalanx of the Hope Expeditionary Force. As for Gao's Hixing, Lu Jiang, and Qiu Jian, who could not fly, Lu Wanting piloted a small fighter plane, carry them directly to the ground. Wang Feng stopped in the air, his camouflage combat uniforms rustling in the wind. Behind him was the neat formation of the Hope Expeditionary Army, and the huge Yanhuang was just above them, becoming their background, making them appear in the air more powerful and majestic. Brothers and sisters of Atlantis. Wang Feng stood in the air and said loudly. Although he did not use a loudspeaker, the large and small recording equipment around him had already transmitted the scene and every word Wang Feng said to the Empire of Hope through various devices. Even every corner of the mother planet. Basically, the entire mother planet is now paying attention to the Empire of Hope and this powerful legion in the sky. First of all, let me tell you some good news. Wang Feng looked at the people below and said. Our planet, Atlantis, is still there and has not suffered any damage. That is to say, in the near future, we can still return to our hometown, to Black Dragon City, to the Green Water Garden, and to our Hope Base. Although Wang Feng was not sure whether he could return to the planet he was familiar with, at least, at this moment, he thought so in his heart. He really wanted to take these people back to Atlantis and Hope Base. Hearing Wang Feng's words, everyone below was stunned, because those who could come here to welcome Wang Feng and his people and were qualified to appear here were basically all survivors from Atlantis. Except for Gao's Hixing and the people he brought with him, other humans who did not belong to Atlantis were not allowed to come to the city specially used to welcome Wang Feng and the Hope Expeditionary Force. After all, if someone makes trouble at this time, they will lose face. The small fighter planes in the sky can be left to Wang Feng to establish his prestige. If countless people on the ground also appear to make trouble, it will not establish Wang Feng's prestige, but slap him in the face. So Fuxi was ready early. After receiving the news that the Yanhuang entered the Mother Star system, he immediately asked Qiyu and others who had been ambushed to start the action and secretly captured all the spies hidden in the city. Anyway, Fuxi understood that after Wang Feng came back, their contradictions with Dong Huangtai might be put on the surface, so there was no need to continue pretending. After being stunned for a while, these survivors shouted again. Since Wang Feng returned, in this short period of time, they have experienced too many surprises. Not only do they no longer have to swallow their anger in the future, but they even have such a powerful army, especially the last one. Atlantis is still there, that beautiful planet has not been destroyed by the cosmic ghost. This means that they can still go home and return to the Hope Base. Although they experienced the horrific apocalypse and the darkness of human nature on that planet, it is still their hometown and they still have to go back. Looking at the cheering crowd below, Wang Feng and the warriors behind him were equally excited. When they were in Atlantis, they might not have reached the level of intimacy they have now, but on this distant home planet, they truly regard these survivors below as their own people, especially after going through so many things. Just like people who drift away from home, when they see their fellow villagers from the same town or even village, they always feel inexplicably close to them when they hear the familiar accent. After the crowd gradually calmed down, Wang Feng shouted again. We have to go through another test. This test may be very difficult, but as long as we can complete it, we can return to our hometown again. As before, all those who are willing to fight side by side with us, come here to sign up after 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, all on a voluntary basis. As for today, let's indulge ourselves. Afterwards, Wang Feng brought all the Hope Expeditionary Force to the ground. Wang Feng naturally went to the core members, while the other soldiers dispersed to the square that had been prepared long ago to find acquaintances or relatives they still knew. In fact, most of these soldiers have relatives or friends here, and some even have many relatives, but they still joined the army without hesitation and followed Wang Feng on a road that may not be able to retreat. However, these soldiers did not look for their relatives first, but first looked for the families of those comrades who would never come back. Although the news they brought might make their excitement fall into despair in an instant, some things could not be avoided after all. Anyway, they had brought those comrades back to their hometowns and let them rest in peace on the beautiful planet of Atlantis. Now their mission was to find their relatives and then try to bring them back to their hometowns. And Duan Lei and Wang Feng, who were gathered with Lu Qiang, Shen Yisan, and others at this time, were discussing this very matter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1016. The welcome ceremony went from the afternoon to 3 o'clock in the morning the next day. The people in the square slowly dispersed. Each of the Hope Expeditionary Forces became the most sought-after targets. Surrounded by a group of people, listening to him talk about their experiences after leaving, those ups and downs, magnificent pictures, in the mouths of these soldiers of the Hope Expeditionary Force, slowly unfolded before their eyes. Of course, the enthusiasm of these people also interrupted the original action of these soldiers to find people. I don't know whether it was intentional or unintentional. Those survivors who were relatives or friends in the Hope Expeditionary Force were not in a hurry. Instead of looking for his relatives, he casually grabbed a member of the Hope Expeditionary Force and started asking around. Looking at the number of the Hope Expeditionary Force just now, they knew that the Hope Expeditionary Force had lost at least more than 10,000 people in this expedition. Are there relatives among these more than 10,000 people? They don't know. But they don't want to know now. Today is the day when Wang Feng and the others return and are reunited. So, don't let yourself know the result for the time being. If you are sad, then, just leave it until tomorrow. Perhaps these soldiers of the Hope Expedition also understood their thoughts, so they did not insist on completing their thoughts. Everyone approached their own abilities and told about their experiences after leaving. Regardless of whether they are eloquent or not, they try their best to truly restore their experiences to these survivors, without exaggeration or reservation. Among the crowd, there were many children from several years old to teenagers. These were all newborns born on or on the way to the home planet. To Wang Feng and the Hope Expeditionary Force, they were still just heard about it from others, never seen it. At this time, seeing these great heroes who were mentioned countless times by my parents with proud faces, my eyes couldn't help but light up. Especially when I learned that those warriors had awakened the innate abilities of the human race, and that their hair was the same as those of the new humans from the original star, and could be commanded at will, I couldn't help but be very curious, and asked the expeditionary soldiers to demonstrate it. As a result, the expeditionary troops all turned into ornamental animals, each one like an octopus, flying their hair up and down, causing the children to scream in admiration or curiosity. The huge square suddenly became very warm at this night. There was no barrier between people. Regardless of whether they knew each other or not, they all seemed to be old friends for many years, chatting freely. The maternal survivors were not afraid of the soldiers of the expeditionary force because of their strength. Instead, they were very curious about the soldiers' own abilities, either picking their ears with their hair, or flying a little. Let them watch them up close, like the magicians of old who performed levitations. And those expeditionary force soldiers did not have the airs of a strong man at all, but instead became good babies. In those people's eyes. Fly up a little, and come down a little. Under similar commands, they constantly controlled their bodies and floated up and down. From entering the crowd to the end, most of these warriors basically did not get any chance to rest. They kept talking about their experiences, and their bodies were on the sea. Float up and down, and at the same time, the hair must be picked out of the ears, buttoned on the nose, or even braided into a bow, etc. However, these expeditionary force soldiers seemed to enjoy this kind of treatment. After the game ended, most of the expeditionary force soldiers still showed unfinished expressions on their faces, as if after returning to their home planet, this group of people were on the battlefield. The soldiers, who would not even blink when killing, collectively turned into masochists at this moment. When everyone slowly dispersed, Wang Feng, Du Enlai and the others also discussed their action plan for tomorrow. They have a lot to do tomorrow. First of all, the first thing is to eliminate the spies and catch all those people brought here by Dong Huangtai. As for how to deal with it, it depends on what they have done before. Those who go too far will of course be killed directly without even saying hello to Dong Huangtai. Moreover, at this time, it is impossible for Dong Huangtai to come out to protect them. If there are some people who have not done it yet, or who have not had time to do something that is outrageous to both humans and gods, they will be thrown directly into the sea. Anyway, I hope that this kind of goods will not be left in the territory of the empire. As for the main person in charge of this matter, Wang Feng gave it to Tessis, who volunteered. This woman who was originally relatively aggressive and bold seems to have become a different person since Apollo was killed. Lu Wanting rarely communicates. When she left her home planet, she secretly stayed there, and was lucky enough to return here. Therefore, Tessis is now an out-and-out level 10 powerhouse, and her psychic powers, it has also become extremely powerful. The previous limit of being able to only perceive one person's thoughts in a day has been lifted long ago. Even if it is just to judge whether others are hostile to herself or have other bad thoughts, Tessis does not need to look at them one by one. Just like Wang Feng's eyes, anyone who is hostile to Tessis or her force, there will be a faint red light in Tessis's eyes. In this way, Tessis is naturally the best choice for this mission. For this reason, Wang Feng specifically asked Lu Feng to select 10,000 expeditionary soldiers to follow Tessis to find out those hidden spies. Those spies, in fact, the third master has been secretly watching them for a long time, but after all, with Tessis, they can have a greater chance of clearing all the enemies from their team. Because many people sent by Dong Huangtai are ordinary people, they all followed some real refugees to sneak into the Hope Empire, so it is inevitable that there will be some omissions on the third master's side. The second thing is naturally to register the list of survivors who choose to continue to follow Wang Feng. Wang Feng doesn't need to worry about this. Lu Qiang and Shen Yisan are definitely capable of doing it, and Wang Feng also asked Tessis to take time to help them. As for the third, of course, it is to meet Dong Huangtai. Wang Feng has killed people and established his prestige, so he is not afraid that Dong Huangtai will be provoked. However, under the persuasion of Du Enlai and Fuxi, Wang Feng still gave up this idea. Now the main thing is to develop people on his side, and there is no need to be too anxious to meet Dong Huangtai. However, Du Enlai directly suggested that the Hope Empire will issue an announcement tomorrow to start recruiting citizens. I believe that after hearing this news, more humans will come to their Hope Empire. Du Enlai thinks that the more people there are on his side, the easier it will be for them to occupy a dominant position when they enter the Endless Road in the future. Du Enlai is naturally not just for power, but he knows that when entering the Endless Road, the Hope Expeditionary Force will definitely need them to command themselves, and it is impossible to let Dong Huangtai occupy a dominant position, even if he is a great prophet. Especially compared with another Dong Huangtai, the Dong Huangtai of their universe is obviously not a little bit worse. Duan Lei even felt that the Dong Huangtai they met now was not Dong Huangtai at all, but a fake one. However, Duan Lei was just guessing about this and could not produce any evidence at all. Therefore, it was okay to talk to Wang Feng and the others here, but it was absolutely impossible to publicize it outside. Moreover, since Dong Huangtai was a great prophet after all, Wang Feng did not dare to let Tessus check his thoughts easily. For fear of accidents, he had to put it aside for the time being. There was another important thing, that was that Wang Feng was going to take out the monsters from the land of divine punishment in his Xianyuan space and feed them to the survivors of Atlantis, so that they could also open their bottlenecks and have the opportunity to reach the height of the Hope Expeditionary Force in the future. Of course, Gauss Hixing and the others could also get the meat of these monsters. As for the other humans from the mother planet who came here for refuge, Wang Feng did not count them. Although they had no hostility towards the Hope Empire now, they also had little sense of belonging, or even no sense of belonging at all. Most of them came here because they were oppressed and exploited so badly, so it is impossible for them to gain the trust of Wang Feng and others. And there is one more thing that Wang Feng is going to do himself, because this thing is also something that Wang Feng is going to do to establish his authority on the mother planet. That is to pull out all the countries that the fighter planes that invaded the airspace of their Hope Empire belong to. Although Dong Huangtai has already unified the mother planet, except for the Hope Empire, other countries have been integrated by Dong Huangtai to form the Renaissance Alliance. But can Wang Feng pretend to be stupid? I just came back and don't know anything. I just know that when I just came back, someone drove a small fighter plane and invaded my airspace. This incident made me lose face, so those countries that came to provoke me must give me an explanation. Although the small fighter planes that invaded our country's airspace have been shot down by me, this matter is not over yet. The countries behind them must come out and give me a satisfactory explanation. Also, although Dong Huangtai established the Renaissance Alliance, those countries still exist in name, so if Wang Feng uses this as an excuse, there is absolutely no problem. Invading other countries cannot be said to be a trivial matter at any time. Just when they discussed here, a person suddenly came in from outside. It didn't seem like they were from the Hope Empire, because there were two expeditionary soldiers who came in one after the other. Hello. Who is Wang Feng? The Great Prophet invites. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1017. After this person came in, without any greetings, he directly stated the purpose of his visit, to send a message to Wang Feng on behalf of Dong Huangtai, hoping that Wang Feng could go to see Dong Huangtai. The Great Prophet said that because there are some misunderstandings between your country and some other countries, the Great Prophet wants to help resolve them. He also invites the leader of your country, Wang Feng, to go see the Great Prophet. This was a strategy that Dong Huangtai came up with, because he had to find an opportunity to be alone with Wang Feng before he could get what he wanted back. Just yesterday, when Wang Feng returned, he directly asked those countries that sent fighter planes to invade the airspace of the Hope Empire to give him an explanation. Dong Huangtai decided to make a fuss about this. Those small fighter planes were naturally sent out by Dong Huangtai. When they were shot down by Wang Feng, Dong Huangtai was ready to make a fuss about this matter. However, after seeing those Hope Expeditionary Force soldiers who appeared out of nowhere, then gave up the idea. If Wang Feng and the others were still the same strength as when they first entered the original star, Dong Huangtai could use that method, but it is impossible now, because the strength of the Hope Empire has surpassed Dong Huangtai and the others. Revive the alliance. As long as you have enough strength, the same thing may turn from heinous to excusable. Therefore, on the one hand, Dong Huangtai continued to let those people he sent into the Hope Empire lurk in secret. During this period, he should be honest and not come forward easily. On the other hand, he directly sent people to find Wang Feng in the name of reconciliation. Dong Huangtai believes that as long as Wang Feng is willing to come, it will not be difficult for him to find a chance to be alone with Wang Feng. Wang Feng himself is powerful, and Dong Huangtai himself is a great prophet and is not good at force. Therefore, Wang Feng is unlikely to be wary of Dong Huangtai, at least that's what Dong Huangtai thinks in his heart. However, Wang Feng directly rejected Dong Huangtai's invitation. Although he didn't know that Dong Huangtai had another conspiracy to find him, Wang Feng had no intention of reconciling the matter from the beginning. Although they still have more than 10 years, if you carefully calculate it, it is not a lot of time, so Wang Feng has no time to compromise with Dong Huangtai, which is why they are so strong. From now on, his energy will be focused on training the survivors of the Empire of Hope, and he will have no time to tangle with other people. If he lets those people go easily this time, I'm afraid they will come up with other ideas in the future. At least Wang Feng understood that the combat power of his Hope Expeditionary Force had been exposed. For a man as ambitious as Dong Huangtai, it was impossible not to want this force under his command. Therefore, Wang Feng will use this incident to directly let Dong Huangtai understand that no matter what the conditions are, they hope that the empire will not compromise. It's okay if you don't come to provoke us. If you dare to come, you will be embarrassed. Don't blame me for killing them all. Therefore, Wang Feng said directly to the messenger who came to invite him. Sorry, Wang Feng, accept the great prophet's wishes. However, my temper is like this. If you don't offend me, everyone will be in peace. I will never take the initiative to provoke others, but once someone offends me, I'm sorry, I will never let him go easily. Furthermore, I know that this matter must have nothing to do with the great prophet. The great prophet is concerned about the safety of the human race, so it is better to focus on his own affairs and not distract his energy too much. If we miss any important omens, then the crisis of the human race will truly come. Moreover, I have just returned to my home planet from the land of God's punishment. There are still many things on my home planet that I need to solve in person, so I can't get away. Therefore, you go back and greet the great prophet for me, and tell everyone, prophet, please be kind and don't bother the great prophet about Wang Feng's matter. Oh, by the way, when you go back, give this to the great prophet. Just think of it as the gift I brought back to the great prophet from the land of God's punishment. Wang Feng directly took out a monster corpse about the size of a pig from his Xianyuan space, gave it to the envoy, and said with a smile, I think this may be able to clear up some of the doubts in the minds of the great prophets. After saying that, Wang Feng turned and left, saying, see a visitor out. Wang Feng knew that Dong Huangtai might be able to find the secret of the promotion of all their members from the body of this monster from the land of divine punishment, and understand what the human race needs to break through its own bottleneck. Of course, it is impossible for Wang Feng to give the corpse of an animal like Dong Huangtai anymore. He himself feels that it is not enough. With such a large population in the empire, this kind of monster has lost its source. Wang Feng has to be stingy. However, when Dong Huangtai saw this corpse, at least he would not press forward anymore, and could buy some time for Wang Feng. It was not that he was afraid of Dong Huangtai, but Wang Feng did not want to kill each other and could make peace. Solution, that is of course the best. After hearing Wang Feng's words, the two expeditionary soldiers who came with the envoy stepped aside and made a please gesture to the envoy. The envoy looked at Wang Feng, then lowered his head and looked at his hands. The animal carcass I was holding made me dumbfounded. It seemed that his mission was a complete failure this time, but he had no choice. Wang Feng didn't give him a chance to speak again and just sent the guests off. As for the animal carcass in his hand that he had never seen before, that Wang Feng also said that he could solve Dong Huangtai's doubts. Naturally, the messenger did not dare to throw it away on his own initiative, so he had no choice but to walk out holding an animal carcass. When the envoy returned to Dong Huangtai and began to tell him what happened after meeting Wang Feng, he hoped that the empire's actions had already begun. Those who had infiltrated the Hope Empire in various ways and had done countless small tricks in the dark had already thought of leaving the Hope Empire overnight after hearing Wang Feng's words yesterday. However, the order from their leader told them to continue to lie dormant, waiting for follow-up orders. In desperation, these people had no choice but to continue to stay in the Empire of Hope, but they never thought that if they stayed, most of them would. Some people will stay here forever. Tessas and the soldiers of the Hope Expeditionary Force moved very quickly. They started the inventory early in the morning. After the inventory began, the entire Hope Empire was temporarily closed, and they were only allowed to enter but not to leave. Those spies who sneaked in were, when you feel something is wrong, there is no way to escape. Among these spies, there are also many new humans from the original star. In the past, they may have been strong in the Empire of Hope, but after the return of the Hope Expeditionary Force, these people have reached the lowest level of the 10th level Expeditionary Force. In front of the warrior, there is no way to resist. Because of Tessie's relationship, the inspection team did not need to ask questions or stop too much. As long as Tessie's glanced over and then directly touched the person who was glowing red, someone would naturally arrest them. So the whole process went very quickly. It only took 3 days. The big purge was over. I don't know if all the spies were caught. But at least those who hate the Empire of Hope or are number one in their hearts are indeed they were all arrested. After the investigation, Wang Feng and the others did not kill all of these people. Instead, they screened them first. With the double identification of witnesses and the information recorded by the camera, all the past crimes of these people were uncovered. There is nothing more to say. Those who go too far will be killed. As for those whose crimes are not serious enough to die, they will all be thrown into the sea and let them swim back by themselves. Now they hope to find a place to imprison them in the Empire, and Wang Feng does not want to waste food. However, among these people, there were more than 20 people who surprised Wang Feng and Duan Lei, because these more than 20 people actually followed them all the way from Atlantis to their home planet. Of survivors. When they saw their information, Wang Feng, Duan Lei, and others were silent for a long time. What to do? Lu Feng, who has always been prone to killing, raised his head after a period of silence and asked, "Even this bloody butcher doesn't know how to deal with these people. It can be seen that these people have indeed brought Wang Feng and the others a big problem." Well. Wang Feng leaned on the back of the chair, tilted his head back, and stared blankly at the ceiling. After a while, he softly said, "Let them go. They hate us, and they have enough reasons, but we can't hurt them, put them back, and send people to protect their safety, and try to meet their daily needs. As for what they think in their hearts." Wang Feng turned to look at Lu Feng, then at Duan Lei. "Let them go." Duan Lei nodded lightly. He also believed that what Wang Feng said should be the best way to deal with these people. Lu Feng nodded, and then looked at Gui Weivong beside him. Gui Weivong understood, breathed out gently, and turned around to leave. The reason why Wang Feng and the others are in trouble is that the survivors who hate the Hope Empire or the Hope Expeditionary Force in their hearts are all the family members of those soldiers who died in the Hope Expeditionary Force. Their relatives joined the Hope Expeditionary Force, but failed to return to them. Although many people know that it is impossible to die in a war, not everyone can easily accept this fact. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1018. They resented Wang Feng and his men because their relatives died in battle. Wang Feng and his men could understand this, and they had no way to deal with them, so they could only hope that time would gradually heal their wounds. In addition, it might be a good idea to let them have more contact with the soldiers and families of the Hope Expeditionary Force. As for whether they can finally figure it out, that is not something Wang Feng and his men can decide. Okay. Everyone, start doing your own work separately. Wang Feng stood up and said softly. As time passed, the Hope Empire also underwent earth-shaking changes. More and more people began to come to the Hope Empire to avoid the oppression of those new humans, and the Hope Empire had become a forbidden place for those new humans at this time. Before, even Dong Huangtai had not thought that Wang Feng was so cruel that he directly killed all the people he sent to the Hope Empire, leaving no one behind, which caught Dong Huangtai off guard. Especially since Wang Feng then turned on the signal jammer on the Yanhuang, Dong Huangtai had no idea what was going on inside the Hope Empire. Moreover, on the afternoon of the second day after Wang Feng returned, the leaders of two small countries publicly issued a letter of apology to the Hope Empire, saying that out of curiosity, they wanted to invite Wang Feng to their country to ask what happened after they left, but they didn't want their pilots to be too reckless and enter the airspace of the Hope Empire without permission. Therefore, the two countries expressed their deep apologies to the Hope Empire and were willing to compensate for all the losses of the Hope Empire. This humble apology was directly accepted by the Hope Empire, and it only symbolically asked for some compensation, so the matter was covered up. In fact, the Hope Empire had no losses, except for the energy consumed by the beam cannon. And the small fighters that were shot down were the real losses, but no one cared about them at this time. Wang Feng and his men knew very well that those small fighters were sent by Dong Huangtai, and these two small countries were helping Dong Huangtai to take the blame. But Wang Feng just wanted to establish his authority, while Dong Huangtai, after seeing the power of the Hope Empire, did not dare to start a war lightly, so he needed to settle this matter. Therefore, this result was a happy ending for everyone. At least in the future, no one should dare to easily provoke the Hope Empire, and not being disturbed and concentrating on preparations was exactly what Wang Feng wanted. Everyone got what they needed. However, after a while, Dong Huangtai began to get restless, because he had no way of knowing the situation inside the Hope Empire. The signal was blocked and the eyes were cut off. Even if he sent a lot of people later, trying to follow those refugees and sneak into the Hope Empire, they were all pulled out and could not sneak in at all. Dong Huangtai finally understood that the Hope base could eliminate spies so thoroughly, which must be relying on the unique supernatural power of a strong man. Perhaps, this supernatural power was what they got in the land of God's punishment. Therefore, Dong Huangtai finally gave up sending spies to the Hope Empire again, but he sent someone to the Hope Empire as an envoy again to invite Wang Feng. The gift that Wang Feng gave Dong Huangtai before made Dong Huangtai understand why the strength of the Hope Expeditionary Force increased so quickly, and Dong Huangtai also knew that among Wang Feng and his men, there was a strong man who had probably broken through level 10 and reached level 11. Of course, there would not be any at level 12 for the time being, Dong Huangtai was sure of this. Because when they reached level 12, they would enter a new realm, which was a step to heaven. It was absolutely impossible before they reached the top of the endless tower. Therefore, this time Dong Huangtai invited him to discuss cooperation with Wang Feng, and specified that the discussion would be conducted with only Wang Feng and Dong Huangtai. Of course, the envoy of Dong Huangtai said generously. The great prophet said that if Mr. Wang Feng is afraid of an ambush, the great prophet can come here to discuss with Mr. Wang Feng. However, Mr. Wang Feng should be confident in his own skills and should not be afraid of a prophet who is not good at fighting, right? Ha ha ha. After stopping the envoy's words, Wang Feng laughed loudly. Of course. I'm not afraid. When the envoy heard this, his expression did not change. He had guessed that Wang Feng would definitely say this. After all, he was the leader of a country, and he was so strong when he appeared on the stage. Of course, he would not be scared at this time. So the messenger placed his right hand on his left chest, bowed slightly and said, "Thank you, Mr. Wang Feng. When will you go to the headquarters of our Renaissance Alliance? I will go back to report to the Great Prophet and prepare to welcome Mr. Wang Feng." Huh? Wang Feng was stunned. Who said I was going? Didn't the Great Prophet say he could come here to see me? The messenger, who had just straightened up, staggered and almost fell to the ground when he heard Wang Feng's words. Damn! Didn't you say you were not afraid of the Great Prophet? Why did you want the Great Prophet to come? The messenger cursed in his heart and looked at Wang Feng with a look of astonishment. Oh! Wang Feng saw the messenger's expression and suddenly realized it. He quickly said, "Ha ha! I'm not afraid that the Great Prophet will harm me. I am a human, and the Great Prophet is also a prophet of the human race, so of course the Great Prophet will not harm me. But I still hope that the Great Prophet can come to my Hope Empire. The first reason is that I am lazy, so I don't want to go so far. The second reason is that the Great Prophet has not come to my Hope Empire. Let him come, so I can do my best to be a good host." "What about the third one?" Wang Feng scratched his hair and blushed and whispered. "Dong Huangtai is the Great Prophet of the human race. He can take the initiative to come to me. Don't I have the best material to show off? This is enough for me to show off for at least 5 years. Puff." As soon as Wang Feng finished speaking, everyone around him was almost pissed off by him. "What kind of reason is this third one?" Lu Wanting couldn't help but laughed out loud. And the messenger, after being stunned for a moment, turned around and left without even saying goodbye. After the messenger left, he was already covered in cold sweat. If he told Dong Huangtai what Wang Feng said just now, Dong Huangtai would be so angry that he would vomit blood, and he would also be unlucky, so he left quickly. Who knows if Wang Feng will say something more outrageous later? It is better to run away quickly. If Wang Feng said something that would embarrass Dong Huangtai, and he dared not tell him, then he would definitely die. After seeing the messenger leave, Wang Feng looked at Duan Lei. "This Dong Huangtai seems to be very anxious to see you." Duan Lei frowned and said, he felt that something was wrong. Why was Dong Huangtai so anxious to find Wang Feng? Wang Feng also felt strange. There were still 16 or 17 years before the Endless Road. Why did Dong Huangtai find him twice after he came back for just a few days, and each time he only found Wang Feng, and did not mention Fuxi and Haoshan and others? Logically speaking, in the eyes of Dong Huangtai, Fuxi should be more important. As long as Fuxi can be convinced, then no one else needs to care. Dong Huangtai can also gain the dominance of the human race in the Endless Road. This situation now is obviously putting the cart before the horse. Duan Lei and Wang Feng were a little confused, so they looked at Fuxi. At this time, Haoshan was not present. He was training their troops with Chu and Xingtian with the Hope Expeditionary Force. After the destruction of the cosmic ghost of the original star, these guys no longer dared to underestimate the Hope Expeditionary Force, especially when they saw that they had all reached the height of level 10, and they lost their previous contempt without a trace. Moreover, for the more than 2 million warriors under Haoshan, Wang Feng directly gave them enough monster corpses. In the future, after entering the Endless Road, as long as they can get enough life energy, they can easily advance. After all, these 2 million people have never lost the innate skills of the human race, so they can also drive small fighters and space battleships. Especially now that Wang Feng and his team's small fighter planes simply don't have enough people to fly them, so the addition of these people will undoubtedly strengthen their strength. During this period, Haoshan and his team have been leading their own troops to run in with the Hope Expeditionary Force led by Lu Feng and Tang Haoshan. Since it has been confirmed that they will be together in the future, the two forces quickly became familiar with each other. Fuxi saw Wang Feng and Duan Lei looking at him, and he shook his head gently. Dong Huangtai's behavior is indeed strange, but I can't think of why he wants to discuss with you alone. According to the comparison of your strength, as long as you are not careless, he can't pose any threat to you. Yes. Duan Lei nodded. This is what I can't figure out. If it's at their place, there may be other arrangements, but Dong Huangtai is willing to come to us to see the madman, which is a bit strange. Could it be, does this guy have any special weapons? Wang Feng suddenly had an idea. Could it be that he can kill me in one shot? Report. Boss. The great prophet is visiting. As soon as Wang Feng finished speaking, an expeditionary soldier ran in, saluted Wang Feng and said, "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1019. What? Wang Feng's eyes widened when he heard the soldier's words. Is this guy so anxious? Duan Lei also looked at Fuxi, meaning to ask what should be done. Bring him in. Take a look and then talk. Fuxi said to the soldier. Yes. After the soldier saluted another military salute, he turned around and left. Now the Hope Expeditionary Force knew that Fuxi had Wang Feng's trust, so they no longer asked Wang Feng for Fuxi's orders, but carried them out directly. Of course, if this order is rejected by Wang Feng and the others, they will still follow Wang Feng's order as the final order. After the soldiers left, Wang Feng looked at Fu 11 and others, but said nothing. Anyway, Dong Huangtai would be arriving soon. Let's just see what this old guy would say before making a decision. Not long after, Dong Huangtai walked in under the leadership of the soldier who came in to report before. What was strange was that he came in alone. He did not bring any entourage, and all the people who came to the Hope Empire with him were left outside. After Dong Huangtai came in, he first nodded to Fuxi and others as a greeting, and then turned his attention to Wang Feng. When he was in the original star, Dong Huangtai had met Wang Feng, and now again when we met, Wang Feng's once childish face had become mature and powerful. Wang Feng. Dong Huangtai looked at Wang Feng, took a deep breath and said, "Your growth surprised me. To be honest, I really didn't expect you to grow up to this point. This kind of messed up my plan." Wang Feng and others were stunned. Plan? What's the plan? However, everyone present did not speak. Since Dong Huangtai took the initiative to speak out, he would naturally continue to speak. Actually, a long time ago, I already had a plan that would allow humans to stand at the top of the world. However, I cannot reveal this plan, so. Dong Huangtai turned to Fuxi and chuckled. You have always been a little confused about my changes, even a little suspicious and defensive, right? After hearing Dong Huangtai's words, Fuxi looked at Dong Huangtai with doubts in his eyes, but still didn't express anything. I actually saw what happened this time a long time ago. I also know that human beings will fight against all the races born on the original star with the power of one family. This is definitely a difficult journey. If you are not careful, our human race will fall into an irreversible situation. Dong Huangtai didn't seem to think that he was an outsider. He walked to a chair and sat down. Then he looked at Gauss Hixing. He seemed a little surprised that humans on this home planet could actually gain the trust of Wang Feng and the others and enter their management. Because Wang Feng and the others knew that he was coming, they must have known that he would tell some secrets about the human race, but they still did not let Gauss Hixing leave, which meant that they had accepted the former supreme speaker of their home planet and became one of them. Since Wang Feng and the others had no objection, Dong Huangtai did not say anything about asking Gauss Hixing to leave. After all, this was not his territory. In more than 10 years, we will all enter the endless road. Remember, all of us. Not just combatants. No matter men, women, old or young, no matter where we are, as long as they are members of the human race, they will all enter at the same time. Teleport to the starting point of the endless road, which is under the endless tower. Dong Huangtai sat on the chair and began to tell some of the secrets he knew. The endless tower, I have never been in it, but I know some of the rules in the endless tower. The endless tower has many levels. Although it is not truly endless, it is definitely not that easy to climb to the top. Because, on each floor of the endless tower, there will be a race of primitive stars, as guardians, to block our steps. Moreover, the battle in the endless tower is not based on killing all the members of one race. Members, as the criterion for judging victory. Why did I emphasize before that all human races will enter the endless road together? It's because, in the endless tower, the victory or defeat is determined based on the percentage of the number of deaths among the races. As the invaders of the human race, once the number of people lost reaches more than 60% of the total number of our human race, we will judge it as a failure to break through the tower, and if the guardian side loses more than 40%, it will be considered a failure. It will be judged as a defensive failure. It sounds like our human race has taken advantage, but the guardians, they only need to fight our clan, and after they fail, if we do not choose to kill them all, but directly enter the next level, they will stay in the endless tower until we successfully reach the top or fail to climb the tower. In short, once the endless road ends, no matter whether we succeed or fail, other races will be transported back to the original star again, waiting for the next opening of the endless road. I think you should have heard what that voice said. Yes, this is the second time the endless road has begun. The guardians can say that even if they did not stop us and were judged to have failed, at least if we had not been ruthless enough to exterminate them, their race could have continued. But we humans have to start from the first level, fighting countless races and killing non-stop. Even if we have a good relationship with the races before, we must wield the butcher knife against them. Because if we don't do this, we can't get through the level they guard, and will eventually be judged as a failure. For the challengers, the punishment for failure is, the whole race is wiped out. In other words, once we become the chosen race and become the challengers, there are only two ways for us humans: successfully reach the top and become the most powerful race, or fail to pass the level, and from then on, there will be no more humans in the world. Therefore, we must succeed. Climbing to the top of the endless tower is the only way out for our human race, but there is a fatal problem here. Dong Huangtai saw. He glanced at everyone and then said, "The failure rate of our human race is that the number of casualties exceeds 60% of the total number of human beings. This number of casualties is not calculated anew for each layer, but accumulated. That is to say, the number of people who died in each layer will be counted into the number of casualties, and will continue to accumulate until this number reaches 60% of our total number. Our human race will be completely extinct. But most of our human race cannot participate in the battle at all, especially those people on the mother planet. They are all ordinary people, but there are still billions of them. And how many of our human race can participate in the battle? How many do you want to count all the citizens of the empire? Now the entire human race, the number of people who can really enter the battlefield, including those from the original stars, is not even 100 million, and it is even difficult to reach 50 million. With such a small number of combatants, we have to protect ordinary people and kill the guardian races. What do you think is the probability of our successful climb to the top? Moreover, those races have been teleported to the endless tower. They went in so early. Were they teleported directly to the level they were guarding? Or were they waiting for us at a specific location? We don't know at all. If they were teleported directly to the level they were guarding, then once we stepped in there, it would be equivalent to stepping into someone else's territory. After 20 years of preparation, what will they become? The guardians of each level know that the enemy they are about to face is the human race. What about us? We don't have the right time, place, and people. We can't know ourselves and the enemy. We don't even know what race we are going to face before we step into the endless tower. How can we fight? Now it's only more than 10 years since the beginning of the endless road. Our human race is still in a state of division. I know that you should think that after entering the endless tower, you will go alone. However, when one human enters, all human races will be teleported in at the same time. Therefore, even if you are powerful and can survive, once the number of casualties on our side reaches the standard, you will also be wiped out. This is a crisis for the human race, definitely not just a part of the human race. It is a huge crisis that our entire race has to face. After Dong Huangtai finished speaking, the scene fell into silence. Although they didn't know whether Dong Huangtai's words were true or false, but, at least the situation he said is likely to happen. Before things happen, make the worst plan first, which is not a bad thing. Dong Huang. What are your plans? After a silence of more than 10 minutes, Fuxi looked at Dong Huangtai and asked. Although Dong Huangtai's previous words revealed that he might have misunderstood him, Fuxi still called Dong Huang by his name, and did not call him teacher as he did at the beginning. Plan. Dong Huangtai stood up, walked to the window with his hands behind his back, looked outside, and sighed softly. The method I thought of, you may not be able to accept it easily, but it is the most likely to succeed, or even the only possible way to succeed. What method? Wang Feng asked. Let me tell you in detail the failure criterion of the Endless Tower. That is, when the number of deaths of the human race, in the Endless Tower exceeds 60% of the total population of the human race, it will be judged as a failure. Dong Huangtai did not directly state his method, nor did he turn around. He just looked out the window and softly repeated the criteria for the failure of the human race to break into the Endless Tower. In particular, he deliberately emphasized the pronunciation of the words the number of people killed in the Endless Tower. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 1020. After hearing Dong Huangtai's words, Wang Feng was stunned, and then turned to look at Duan Lei and Fuxi with some confusion. What does this rule have to do with Dong Huangtai's plan? What? You? Duan Lei was also full of doubts, but immediately, he seemed to have thought of something, his face suddenly turned pale, and then he stood up suddenly, pointed at Dong Huangtai, and shouted in disbelief. You mean, kill people? When Duan Lei said this, Wang Feng and others immediately reacted. Yes. Dong Huangtai just emphasized the criteria for determining failure. Didn't he specifically focus on the words the number of people killed in the Endless Tower? The natural meaning is that only the humans who died in the Endless Tower will be recorded, and outside the Endless Tower. Everyone finally understood. No wonder Dong Huangtai said just now that their method might not be easy for them to accept. Moreover, he had watched Gao's Hixing several times before saying it. It turned out that he actually wanted to kill all the billions of ordinary people before entering the Endless Tower. In this way, since they died in the outside world before the Endless Road was officially opened, of course they could not will be counted in the number of casualties. And the remaining people are all strengtheners and above, and they don't have to protect those burdens. Naturally, they have greater hope of breaking through the Endless Tower. Among everyone, Fuxi was the most shocked. At this moment, he was looking at Dong Huangtai with an indescribable expression. He could not have imagined that such a crazy idea would actually appear in Dong Huangtai's mind. Is this still the great prophet who once devoted himself to the human race? To actually reveal a plan to massacre billions of people in such an understatement? Are these all humans? Their own people, not other races. Although Fuxi had also thought in his mind that according to Dong Huangtai's method, the chance of his human race climbing to the top of the endless tower would be much greater, but he slaughtered his own people with his own hands, and the number was still so huge, nearly 100 of the total population of the human race. More than 90 percentile, Fuxi would never be able to do such a crazy thing. If some sacrifices need to be made for the continuation of the human race, Fuxi can do this. He can sacrifice some people's lives for the future of the human race at a critical moment, but that is only because he cannot rescue and has to give up. But now Dong Huangtai is about to carry out a massacre. An almost genocidal massacre. Looking at Dong Huangtai's back, Fuxi was speechless for a long time because he didn't know what to say. If he followed Dong Huangtai's approach, then in the end, even if they could successfully climb the endless tower, what's the use of standing on the top of the world? Is a human race that only has strong people like them still considered a human race? They slaughtered their own people with their own hands just to prevent them from holding them back. Do they still deserve to call themselves human beings? Does a life that survives like this really have any meaning? Fuxi suddenly shook his head. The words Dong Huangtai said when he came in just now almost made Fuxi think that he had wronged Dong Huangtai because of some misunderstanding. The actions of Dong Huangtai that made him suspicious, in fact, he has his own reasons. But now, Fuxi finally understood that he had not wronged Dong Huangtai. This Dong Huangtai was no longer the great prophet of the human race. No wonder he came here without anyone. If his idea were heard by other senior leaders of the human race, it would probably cause an uproar among the human race in an instant. His position as the great prophet would definitely not be preserved. At this time, the place was completely quiet. Even Wang Feng was so shocked that he was speechless by Dong Huangtai's crazy idea. Hearing the silence behind him, Dong Huangtai slowly turned around, looked at Wang Feng and the others, suddenly smiled, and asked softly, "What? Do you think this method is not good? Dong Huangtai? What's the matter with you? You'd better tell me directly. I think you didn't come here just to tell us this method, right?" Duan Lei suddenly asked calmly. When he heard Duan Lei's words, Fuxi immediately woke up. Duan Lei was right. Dong Huangtai came here definitely not to express this idea to them, because Dong Huangtai absolutely knew that none of the people present would agree with his idea, so this was completely meaningless. Significance. Dong Huangtai did this just to disturb their minds. Fuxi couldn't help but curse in his heart. He, an old fox who has lived for who knows how many years, can't see things as clearly as Duan Lei, a young boy. He really has lived a long life like a dog. Although Duan Lei is now in his 30s, compared with old monsters like Fuxi and Dong Huangtai, calling him a young boy is a compliment. Dong Huangtai looked at Duan Lei, nodded approvingly and said, "I have long heard that Duan Lei is the think tank in the Hope Empire. Now it seems that he is indeed well deserved. In this case, I will keep the story short." After Dong Huangtai finished speaking, he walked towards Wang Feng and said as he walked, "Although the method I mentioned is a bit cruel, at least we can be sure that with these tribesmen who have almost no fighting ability, we will definitely not be able to pass through the endless tower smoothly. Even if it only takes 2 or 3 floors, our human race may die due to casualties. Too heavy and was judged to have failed. Those guardians must understand this rule. Therefore, they only need to send people to entangle our main force, and then send people into the camp of ordinary people to kill wantonly. There is absolutely no way we can protect them. After all, our number is less than 1/10 of theirs. With a ratio of 1 to 10, how can we possibly be fully protected? Even if we can barely protect them, do we still have the energy to fight the enemy? So, before entering the endless tower, we have only 2 choices for those tribesmen who have no fighting ability." Dong Huangtai looked at Wang Feng and said with deep meaning, "1. Kill them all before entering. Second, find a safe place to hide them so that they will not be attacked by enemy races. Hide. Wang Feng instantly thought of his Xianyuan space, but immediately shook his head and said, "No, my Xianyuan space cannot bear the gathering of so many lives. It will cause the space to collapse, and they will still die inside. In Xianyuan space, not even their 100,000 expeditionary soldiers could stay for a long time, otherwise Wang Feng would not have left the land of divine punishment alone, let alone billions of humans. As for the monsters in the land of divine punishment, it was because of the special laws of heaven and earth in the land of divine punishment that they could be accommodated by Xianyuan space. However, once he obtained the Yanhuang number, Wang Feng immediately released them, fearing that due to time if it is too long, it will cause instability in your own Xianyuan space. I know this. Dong Huangtai nodded, looking confident. I have a way to strengthen the stability of your Xianyuan space so that it can accommodate those billions of people. Although the time cannot be too long as you remove them all when they are in danger, just take it in, at least it's much better than being unprepared. After talking so much, Dong Huangtai finally said what he wanted to say. In fact, the purpose of coming here was just for this sentence. The previous words were just to divert their attention and make them relax their vigilance. Just to give myself a chance to get along with Wang Feng alone. That's why Dong Huangtai did not hesitate to lead them to think of such a cruel method, just to shock them. Reinforce the space. Duan Lei frowned, looked at Dong Huangtai and asked. That's right. Dong Huangtai nodded without changing his expression and said. But I don't know if it can be successful. Therefore, after the transformation is completed, we still need to test it. First, put those people in batches to verify the limit of humans that the reinforced Xianyuan space can accommodate. How to reinforce it? Wang Feng asked. Summon Xianyuan sword first. Dong Huangtai was secretly happy, but his face remained calm. After Wang Feng heard Dong Huangtai's words, he hesitated. He suddenly remembered the instructor's previous warning to him, saying that there was a problem with the Xianyuan sword. Could the problem Li Yingning mentioned be caused by Dong Huangtai? Seeing Wang Feng's hesitation, Dong Huangtai couldn't help but shook his head gently. Little guy, this is your territory, and I am a great prophet. Fighting is not what I am good at. Besides, the Xianyuan sword has been completely integrated with you. Can I still snatch it away? If I'm not wrong, you should have reached the peak of level 11. I'm only in the middle of level 8, and this place is all yours. What can I do? Duan Lei stood aside and looked at Dong Huangtai. He felt keenly that Dong Huangtai's words were a bit cover-up, and they also revealed his eagerness to see Xianyuan sword. However, at this time, Lei still couldn't figure out what methods Dong Huangtai was hiding. What he just said was absolutely right. In their territory, they shouldn't be afraid of what Dong Huangtai could do. Wang Feng looked at Duan Lei, who nodded slightly, but secretly made a gesture to warn Wang Feng to be careful. Let me show you. Wang Feng finally summoned the Xianyuan sword, and then handed the Xianyuan sword to Dong Huangtai.